wrote down your objective, if you wrote down your objective, do you think you'd like to try this and then start trying to get an outline together? Maybe you could write down some ideas of just some little thoughts that may become part of your outline, and then I could walk around and help you out if you want to.
So you write down like your random ideas first, and then you organize them according to whichever color posted. Is that how you do it?
Well, when you're at home, yeah, you would do that. And then, but for right now, I think just write on any color that you want, and then we'll divide them up and make them chapter headings. And then maybe when you get home, you can kind of make it color coordinated, or you can just start typing out your outline. So.
I have a question.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff like that has been told to me, and you said not to put yourself in this thing. I don't have opinion on it, but I just wonder how I would say. Do I say I remember as a child someone told me this or something? Or?
Yeah. Well, no, it depends on what kind of book. If it's purely your memoirs, your recollection, then you can say, my father told me in 1957 that blah, 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 blah. So you can put yourself in the story that way. Yeah. But when it comes to maybe some ancestor fighting in some war, don't start adding your opinions. Yeah. How about other people? I'd love to hear what other people are thinking about writing. Maybe about anybody writing about their set of grandparents? You are, yeah. Are you going to write about both the husband and the wife? All right. All right. So the way I've done it is I've divided it pretty much in half, and then of course their marriages overlap. But and then I branch back a little bit on the ancestors. Do you have ideas on what you're going to do? Yeah.
One thing is to write the purpose in the beginning.
Yeah.
All right. For me, I would like to put the family tree. Right? And then just start off with my father.
Yeah.
And then write his little history. And then my mother and her history.
Yeah.
But maybe that's too didactic, but it would be in a chronological order, easy to follow.
Yeah. And that's okay too, because the reader is going to have a hard time following it. So you're right. Having the tree right there where they can look it up. And I think, yeah, I think that's fine. You know, you either write it in chronological order, or you think of a dramatic happening in the person's life and write about that. But no, I think you're going to be good.
The end product is going to be a 10-page book.
Yeah.
So we're really going to have to cram everything in.
Yeah, that's right. It's scary because you can have a genealogical chart. Remember that big old chart? That could be 10 pages long. So, so you're going to have to think about who you're going to cover. Who you're covering in this thing. Are you going to cover 5 generations, or are you going to cover 3 generations? And then you're going to have pictures in there too. Yeah. So do you know what you're thinking about writing about?
Well, actually, I'm working with my husband and my sister, so
oh, good. Okay.
It's 2 sides, you know, of my family.
Yeah.
And so it's the family tree to pass on from young.
Okay. Great. Great. I think you can do this. Yeah. Because as she said, having the family tree at the beginning, or some people put it at the end, and then maybe a short paragraph about father, short paragraph about mother, short paragraph about grandparents, that kind of thing, and then photos, and you're done.
So the printing will have to be quite small.
Well, that's a good question. She's asking about printing size. So you want to have it be 10 point or larger, because then people won't be able to read it. So that even puts even more restriction on your book, on what you can write about. So.
I wanted to write, like my memories of like the Oiesen, because like they're so quickly, being forgotten.
Yes.
But then what you have to deal with is like you talk to your aunts and uncles, and because of the hard time, you're going to get a lot of criticism, because you know, family life is not always rosy. I mean, I'd like to write down the rosy parts,
Right.
just to remember, but some people are just not gonna wanna remember. How do you just deal
Yeah.
with that?
It's, and I commend you for writing that, and I commend you for writing that, your memories of these things, because people will say, that's not right, and you just say, well, this is my recollection of it, or I talked to Aunt so-and-so, and that's her recollection of it. I would try as much as possible to get them involved while you're writing it, and just say, I'm gonna write about this subject, you know, that way she'll feel a part of it, and won't feel hurt by it.
But I guess what I'm also saying is some people are not gonna want, you know, they just have sad memories of that time.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
they're not gonna
you know,
wanna see
so
it.
I don't really, you know, some people I can involve with
Mhm.
it, and some people just don't, you know, they might have had, you know, a mother-daughter issue with my grandmother, so.
Right.
You just, how do you deal with it?
I try to tell everyone up front what I'm doing and what I'm gonna write about, and then I just let it fall where it may, because this is my memories of it, this is my project. You know, not everything is nice. Not everything is nice. I feel for you. I have a grandmother situation that I'm working through right now that, you know, my mother would rather me not write about. There are some things I'm not gonna write until after they're gone, but, you know,
But you do it just to at least start.
yeah, to start.
Yeah, there's some historical events that had a profound effect on the accomplishments. For instance, the first generation.
Mhm.
They were not allowed to own land because the alien land law.
Right.
And they could not become citizens until the McCarran Act was passed in 1953.
Right.
And yet they were able to make such progress within their own efforts.
Right.
They're very remarkable, you know?
Definitely.
But-
And,
But unless one knows about the alien land law a little bit, or the McCarran Act, one would appreciate the fact that they could not become citizens, and yet they accomplished so much.
and yet they got so much done, yeah. And I think the man that I was featuring there, you know, he was born here in the U.S. and his father was always listed as alien status. And then he tried to come back later and couldn't, you know. He accomplished a lot while he was here, but and then he couldn't come back to the U.S. It's just, it's interesting, and it has caused sad and kind of bitter feelings in their family, but they still write about it, you know, to work out through those emotions, even though, you know, Haru was still alive.
You
So-
see, the third and fourth generation children are reading this, but they don't know the history.
Right.
But they made a point, though, that through legislation, we got these rights, and that's a great hope in the United States.
Right.
If you know the law, just like the Civil Liberties Act,
Absolutely.
that proved that the internment was unconstitutional.
Mhm. It gives, I mean, talk about turning points, just, you know, these families and Haru's family, it's just, there's so many things to write about, and there's painful things to write about too, but involving them and letting them know what's going to be written is the only thing you can do, and then just go forward. How about anyone else? Does anyone else